My name is Jian Oh, and my presentation here is about ethnic and racial disparities in stomach cancer incidence. So the stomach is a part of the digestive system located on the left side of the upper abdomen, lying between the esophagus and the small intestine. And gastric cancer is a disease in which malignant cancer cells form in the lining of the stomach. And the symptoms, there may be no symptoms of stomach cancer early on, but later symptoms can include the feeling bloated after eating, feeling full after eating just a small amount of food, nausea, heartburn, or indigestion. And the 5-year survival rate for people with stomach cancer is about 32%. This statistic reflects the fact that most people with stomach cancer are diagnosed after the cancer has already spread to other parts of the body, since there are not much symptoms in the early stage. And regarding the treatment, and the options include the surgery like a gastrectomy, that is a surgical removal of all or part of the stomach, or some medications, radiation, or chemotherapy. So, the stomach cancer is the fifth most common cancer in the world, and it is more common in older adults than is about twice as common in men than women. And as shown in this table, the Republic of Korea had the highest rate of stomach cancer, followed by Mongolia and Japan. And about 71% of the stomach cancer cases occurred in less developed countries. And the highest incidence of stomach cancer was in Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and the lowest incidence in Africa and Northern America. A risk factor is anything that increases a person's chance of developing cancer. Although risk factors often influence the development of cancer, most do not directly cause cancer. So some people with several risk factors never develop cancer, while others with known risk factors do. But it is always good to be aware that what those factors are, and since some factors are under your control, like such as diet, and even though we cannot control all factors like genetics. So the first thing we see is an age. So stomach cancer occurs most commonly in people older than 55. Most people diagnosed with stomach cancer are in their 60s and 70s. And the gender, so men are twice as likely to develop stomach cancer as women. And the factors we cannot control, like genetics, so there could be some mutations on certain genes that increases the risk. And the family history and genetics as well. So people who have a parent, child, or sibling who has had stomach cancer have a higher risk of the disease. And the race and ethnicity, which is really interesting. So stomach cancer is more common in Asia, and Hispanic and African American people than in white people. And smoking and drinking a lot of alcohol may increase the risk of developing stomach cancer. And there is also obesity, smoking, then they could increase the risk. And lastly, but could be pretty importantly, the bacteria called Helicobacter pylori cause the stomach inflammation and some ulcers as well. It is considered one of the main causes of stomach cancer. So the stomach cancer is a major cancer in much of the world, but not the United States. And while stomach cancer is sort of declining worldwide, it is still the most common cancer in Korea. And rates of new cases of stomach cancer are more than 4 times higher in Asia than Africa. And people have been researching why, and some Korean researchers assessed the effect of salt preference in relation to gastric cancer in more than 2.2 million South Korean adults. And all of them provided the information on diet and lifestyle and had a health checkups. And over the course of 7 years, 9,600 men and 2,700 women developed stomach cancer. And people who preferred salty diets had a 10% increased risk of developing gastric cancer. And some other Asian studies found that sodium in the form of table salt posed risk for heart disease but not cancer, while salted foods such as processed fish were associated with cancer but not cardiovascular disease, which means in places where the salt is used as a way of to preserve foods such as pickling, and there is a higher risk. That makes sense for Asian countries as well as Eastern Europe, including Russia, where salting of food has been a mainstay of the diet. And usually, Korean diets are considered pretty healthy, but Korea have lower rates of obesity and cardiovascular disease, and the diet has a higher ratio of vegetables to meat, and the Korean diet includes many omega fatty acids and vitamins, especially in fermented foods such as kimchi. But it seems like there is a downside as well, too much salt. And also, drinking is a huge part of our culture. I mean, the Korean culture. The Koreans usually see it as the easier way to alleviating stress and building relationships. And drinking is seen as a sort of a social lubricant. We really need drink when you want to get to know people. So yeah, that's maybe another way to see the higher rate of the stomach incidence in Korea. And now I've looked at those culture and diet in Korea regarding the stomach cancer, and we will always go a little further to see on how Koreans try to prevent the disease. About 20 years ago, Korea set up the National Cancer Screening Program. So, and also there is a national health insurance system, which is mandatory for everyone with a relatively small amount of money, about just 100 to somewhere about 100 to 300 US dollar per household per month. And that recommends and covers biannual gastric cancer screening for all residents over age of 40. It doesn't really matter if they have a symptom or not. And when I was in Korea, I did it every year, and the screening was completely covered by the insurance as well as the employer. And here the picture is showing the gastric endoscopy, which is what most people in Korea choose for stomach cancer screening. So they put a flexible fiber optic scope so physician can see inside the organ. And it hurts quite a bit since the tube is inserted through the mouth into the stomach. So you can be put to sleep, but I usually prefer to do it without sedation. This is the end of my presentation, and here is my reference slide. And thank you so much for watching.